smoke curled over twisted metal as the dust settled on the valley floor. 7 Marines were pinned behind a crumbling wall, bloodied, breathless, and out of ammo. Radio silence. No drones. No chopper blades. Above them, only sky, and death riding in fast. Lieutenant Hale squinted at the horizon and muttered, "Unless heaven flies jets, we're dead." Before we dive deeper, where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments. Dust hung in the air like smoke from a cigarette left burning too long. The valley below was quiet now, but the kind of quiet that meant something was wrong. Lieutenant Marcus Grim Hale crouched behind a crushed boulder with his squad scattered along the ridge. 11 men and women, all breathing hard, eyes scanning the lowlands. Behind his dust-smeared wraparound shades, Hale watched the shadows move. "They're repositioning," he muttered over comms. "Say again?" Brooks hissed. Hale clicked once. Short, sharp. They all got it. Movement in the south tree line. Then came the sound. Not boots. Not rifles. Tracks metal clanking over dirt, fast and steady. "Eyes on armor," muttered Tran, peering through binos. Multiple heat signatures, fast movers. Tanks. And IFVs. "What kind?" Hale asked. She paused. "Black jackhawls. Those old diesel beasts." "Shit," someone whispered. Boom. The ridge behind them spat dirt. Everyone hit the ground. "Mortar outbound. Move, move." They sprinted downhill, dodging as another round landed behind them. Hale didn't glance back. He knew the pattern: hurt M, pin M, flatten M. By the time they hit the edge of what was left of Delta 1, the village was nothing but bricks and bones. 5 crumbled homes. 1 broken minaret. Some gutted cars still leaking gasoline. "Spread out," Hale barked. "Find hard cover. Tran, get us on the horn. Anyone. Command, air, I don't care who picks up." Tran hit the deck behind a burnout truck and started working her modded field rig. Brooks dropped beside Hale, panting. "Whole damn column's moving, LT. We're talking a dozen units minimum." "How far?" 3 clicks and closing. "Ammo?" Brooks just held up 3 fingers. That told Hale all he needed. Not magazines, 3 men had usable kits. The rest? Dry or wounded. Santos limped over with his sleeve tied around his thigh. "Doc says Parker might lose the leg. Shrapnel hit the artery." Hale's jaw clenched. "Not now. Not here." Tran banged her fist against the side of the compact. "Signal's dead out here. Either they're jamming, or we're too far through the hills. No drone coverage, either. We're blind." Hale sank to one knee behind a section of wall, staring out past the blown-up town sign. Sunset was creeping in. He could already see flashes on the horizon again, turret lights, search scopes. "This ain't tactical," Brooks muttered. "It's a goddamn slaughterhouse." Hale didn't answer right away. He just stared at the ridge they'd come down, no help there. And above him, just sky. No contrails. No choppers. He keyed his mic and spoke quietly, like the words might crack if dropped too hard. "It's a trap. No air. No backup. We've got maybe 2 hours." Silence. In the distance, the first rumble of tanks echoed across the valley floor. And then, faint, broken up, Tran's rig crackled. Someone was listening. Engines screamed as 2 Hornets launched from the flight deck, controllers barking orders through headsets, steam jets cutting through the haze. It smelled like grease, sweat, and raw ocean. Captain Alex Valkyrie Vega stood beside her F-35, helmet tucked under one arm, watching jet trails disappear into the clouds. Another combat op, not hers. She shifted her jaw, said nothing. But Junior Grease Tech passed, nodded. "You up next, Cap?" "Nope," Vega said flatly. The kid frowned. Weird. Kinda figured you'd be the tip of the spear. She just smiled once, small and cold. So did I. Minutes later, she was inside Flight Ops, standing stiff as Commander Richard Brick Salazar scrawled something on a mission board. He didn't look at her when he spoke. Let me guess, you think I made a mistake? I think I'm fully certified, carrier cleared, and sitting cold while other pilots run hot seat rotations, Vega replied. Salazar set the pen down and turned. You're sharp, Vega. I know it. Hell, everyone on this boat knows it. But being ready doesn't mean being prepared. She held his stare. That's the same thing, sir. He stepped forward, folding his arms. No. Ready is passing simulations. Prepared is knowing what you'll do when they try to swat you out of the sky at 700 knots, and there's no instructor to pause your death. She said nothing. She'd heard this before. And besides, Salazar added, tone softening just a notch, you're new. Politics matter. There's a pecking order. Sit tight. Let time and flight hours do their work. But I'm burning both, she said. That paused him. Just for a breath. This isn't a simulator, Valkyrie. He leaned in. Sit tight. She sat on a crate near the forward catapults 3 hours later, watching deck crews prep Vikram's squadron for another run. Chalk dust blew across her boots. Her jet was locked down, parked in perfect, marked with her call sign, Valkyrie, in dull gray under the cockpit. No scratches, no stories. She thought about her last flight, early return, weather abort. 50 minutes of flight time logged. No ordnance expended. No thrills. Just more boxes ticked. A pair of vulture pilots cracked jokes nearby about who could rack up more confirmed kills by deployment's end. She tuned them out. Their scoreboard didn't include her. She synced her flight gloves again, just in case. Reset her HUD settings. Then again. Fingers itching. Nothing to do but wait. And wait some more. Valkyrie wasn't flying today. Or tomorrow, if Salazar had his way. And the sky, full of action somewhere just beyond the horizon, didn't say when it would call her name. Corporal Jenna Magpie Tran wiped blood off her lips and leaned over the half-dead comms pack, fingers trembling. The battery indicator blinked red. 3% power. One antenna cracked. The backup uplink, fried. It wasn't built for this. She yanked the casing open and rewired a stripped cable with the silver sleeve from her dog tags. Static buzzed in her ear. Come on, she muttered. Outside, enemy armor rumbled louder, closer every minute. Lieutenant Hale ducked into the half-collapsed room where she worked. Update. I'm trying to bounce a raw signal, open channel, minimal encryption. Might cut through the jamming, she said, teeth clenched. No guarantee. Just need one friendly ear, Hale said. Keep at it. She nodded and flicked the channel dial. It whined, popped, then crackled to life. A thin stream of white noise filled her headset, no words. Just breath and heat and hope. Tran keyed the mic. This is Hammer 2-1, broadcasting emergency. Grid coordinates to follow. We are pinned. Minimal munitions. 9 souls active. 2 critical. Multiple enemy armored units en route. No air. Request immediate support, any station, any frequency, respond. Nothing. She repeated the message. Twice. Then she leaned back against the crumbling wall, the mic still hot. Please, she whispered under her breath. Somebody be listening. Up on the carrier deck, lightning flickered far off over the ocean. Vega sat alone in her grounded jet, helmet off, diagnostics cycling idle on the tiny screen beside her. Her headset was still linked. Out of habit, she'd tapped into the controller channel, but only static there. Routine flight ops were over for the day. Pilots getting chow. Techs finishing checklists. She sighed, adjusted a loose strap on her harness. She wasn't sleepy. Just restless. Almost without thinking, she flipped to a backup receiver. Then another. Then another. Way outside standard range. The fourth one cracked. Her body went still. Any friendly station, this is Hammer 2-1, enemy armor, 2 critical, we are pinned, if anyone hears this, God help us. Vega stared ahead. A silence wrapped around her inside the cockpit. The voice didn't belong to an actor. It wasn't a transmission test. It was real. A man trying to speak through dust and death. She adjusted gain. We've got maybe 2 hours. Another voice. A woman, younger, clear and strained, please respond. Any signal, anything back. We're still here. Vega's jaw tightened. She didn't need full confirmation. The tone said it all. No one else was on this frequency. No response logs. Command hadn't picked this up. No alert was sounding. She checked her plane's readiness. Fuel at 97%. Weapons green. Flight path unlocked. All systems standing by, begging. She reached slowly toward her mic. Paused. Then pressed it on. Heard and noted. You want me to authorize an unsanctioned strike based on static? Commander Salazar's boots echoed across the carrier deck as he closed the door to flight ops behind him. Vega stood rigid. It wasn't static. It was a live Marine unit. Hammer 2-1. They're in it deep, armor closing fast, 2 wounded, no air support. Salazar held up a hand. They didn't transmit through command. No coordinates logged, no mission file. For all we know, it's leftover enemy psyops bouncing around the cliffs. I know a real voice when I hear one, she snapped. They're not faking that fear. He pointed to the map board. There's no approved recon in that sector. Even if it's real, which I doubt, there's no actionable intel. I will not greenlight you to go free hunting through enemy airspace. They're going to die, sir. His jaw tightened. That's not your call. Vega looked him dead in the eyes, voice quiet. But it's my sky. Salazar paused. You disobey, your career's gone. Flight status pulled. Court-martial is best case. Her voice didn't waver. Understood. She turned and walked out, slow, controlled. 10 minutes later, below decks, Vega slid into her flight suit behind a row of stacked pallets. No escort, no tech crew. Just her helmet, her wings, and a burning sense of urgency. Her fingers worked fast, straps, seals, release valves. CWO Eric Hightower caught sight of her in the prep alcove. Valkyrie, he whispered, eyes narrowing. What are you? I need 15 seconds, she said. He scanned the schedule log, then glanced back at her. You're not on rotation. I know. Above them, the launch horn gave its muffled 2-tone growl. Another strike group was prepping for a drone escort run. Just enough noise to slip in unnoticed. Just enough chaos to hide movement. I heard them, Tower, she said. No one else did. He stared at her, then looked over his shoulder toward the hangar crew, not paying attention. 15 seconds, he muttered. Vega clapped him on the shoulder. Thanks. The canopy hissed closed. HUD flickered to life. She lined up on the launch rail behind another fighter already prepped. No techs questioned her. Deckhands assumed it was a last-minute scramble. Her transponder remained dark. Fuel, 96%. Ordnance, live. Route, manual. The wind was picking up. A storm building over the sea. That would help. Salazar's voice echoed in her mind. No. Sit tight. Instead, she thumbed the throttle forward and armed her comms with one hand. Tower, this is Valkyrie. Hightower's voice crackled back. Go for Tower. A small pause. I'm going black. If this is my last flight, let it matter. Without waiting, she gave the launch signal. The catapult ramped, the nose dipped, and the sky swallowed her whole. Machine gun fire cut across the alley, chewing through what was left of the stone wall. Down! Hale shouted, dragging Santos behind a rusted refrigerator-turned barricade. Dirt and shrapnel rained down. The sound of treads grinding gravel was so close now it felt like the ground itself was groaning. 2 minutes, maybe less, Brooks said, panting hard. His shoulder was bleeding, but he still had the last rocket launcher propped on one knee. One shot. Just one. Hale looked past the ruined minaret. A tank rolled into view, black, diesel-fueled, low to the ground, cannons sweeping back and forth like a predator sniffing out prey. 2 infantry vehicles followed behind it. That's the kill column, Tran muttered, crouched low beside the comms unit. They find us, done. Hale didn't respond. He looked at Brooks, gave a nod. Make it count. Brooks stood, shoulder braced against the wall, eye down the sight. He aimed for the lead tank and squeezed the trigger. Foom. The rocket streaked straight, but dipped at the last second, slamming into the dirt just shy of the target. The smoke cloud was thick, but the tank kept moving. Missed. No one said anything. The ground vibrated. The cannon on the tank raised its barrel. Santos whispered, "Tell me someone brought a miracle." Then, a sharp, high-pitched whistle, a sound none of them recognized in that moment, ripped through the sky. And then, crack kakom. A hellish streak of light dropped from above, hitting square on the lead tank. It exploded upward, fire and black smoke shooting like a geyser. A half-second later, a second blast annihilated the IFV behind it. Flames rolled across the valley floor. The armored column was torn apart in an instant. Hale rolled over, mouth open. What in the... The radio hissed. Hammer 2-1, this is Valkyrie, came a calm, female voice through the static. A voice none of them recognized. I've got your 6. Tran stared at the radio unit like it had become holy. Brooks laughed, sharp and disbelieving. No way. That's ours? Whoosh. The F-35 tore overhead, low and fast, black as death and screaming past like it had just been shot from a slingshot made by God. The squad watched it arc up, loop tight, and come back around like it owned the sky. It's one fighter, Santos said, stunned. One pilot, Hale corrected. The radio came alive again. Marines, stay low. I'm making another pass. Knock out that signal jamming. I'll clean the rest. Who the hell is she? Brooks said, still staring up. Hale keyed the mic. Valkyrie, Grim here. Welcome to the party. The HUD glowed green inside Vega's helmet, locking target after target with ruthless efficiency. 3 more armor units downfield, tucked between broken buildings like teeth in a jaw. The F-35 moved with grace, but her mind ran sharp and cold. Every breath was measured. Every movement deliberate. Weapons hot. Clean run. She dropped low, hugging the terrain. The buildings rushed toward her, then passed. A quick twist of the stick, and suddenly she was over the armored column. Fox 3. 2 guided missiles detached beneath her wings and slid through the air like knives. One hit a tank dead center. The second broke through the side of an IFV, it burst open like a crushed can. From the ground, it looked impossibly fast. Move! Let's go! Shift east, flank right. Hale barked, still half-crouched behind cover. The remaining Marines began repositioning, pushing toward harder ground and a collapsed feed warehouse where they could regroup. Magpie Tran glanced up. She's keeping their heads turned. She's doing more than that, Brooks muttered, watching flames cook off secondaries in the distance. She's rewriting this fight. A rapid burst of AA fire cracked through the sky, then exploded short as Vega flared high and pivoted into a steep bank, jet roaring in protest but obeying her touch. Vega's breathing was steady but tight. Chaff. Flare. Roll right. Throttle down. Paint the radar. Wait for the lock. The enemy's anti-air crews adjusted quickly, but Vega was faster. She twisted into a vertical climb, rose to 5,000 feet, circled tight, then came down again, blade sharp. New lock. 2 trucks. Heat signature verified. Fox 4. A second pass. 2 more explosions. Secondary fuel tanks gone. Enemy lines flared in orange and black. Through her visor, she spotted shifting infantry in the far east field, moving to flank the Marines. Foodmobiles, at least 8. She clicked to the comms. Grim, you've got movement at your 3. East tree line. Hale turned, eyes narrowing as shadows crept along the brush. Copy. Frag out. Brooks lobbed a grenade before the marchers even cleared the ridge. The explosion ripped through half of them on landing. The squad hit the warehouse hard and fast, ducking inside, patching wounds, splitting ammo. The noise outside kept roaring, kept fading, then roaring again, like thunder controlled by one person. Santos peeked around the corner and watched Vega's jet split the sunset like an arrow. You ever seen a bird hunt like that? Not outside of video games, Tran whispered. Hale checked his rifle, then looked at the radio unit. Might want to start writing thank you letters now. Make 'em big ones, Brooks added. Like posters. Overhead, Vega exhaled through clenched teeth, then adjusted course as warning tones chirped in her ear. More hostiles. North Ridge. Tanks coming. Her HUD confirmed it, too many. She had 1 pass left before fuel dropped below redline. She tapped comms. Valkyrie to Grim. I'm not done yet. Paint targets if you can. Who cleared Valkyrie for launch? Commander Richard Brick Salazar stood in the center of flight ops, voice low, angry, and cutting through the room like a blade. A mission board tech raised a hand, half shrugging. Sir, she launched during Bravo flight's window. We thought she was cleared. Salazar's hands were fists. He turned toward the screen, Vega's transponder flashing active, deep inland, halfway to enemy territory. Get her on comms. Now. In her cockpit, Vega coasted at high altitude above sun-bleached clouds, tracking movement near Hammer 2-1's projected location. Smoke patterns painted the ground. Her comm link lit up. Priority 1 transmission, command direct. She didn't need to guess who it was. She tapped it open. Salazar, Valkyrie, this is Commander Salazar. You are flying unauthorized in restricted airspace. This is a direct recall. Break off and return to carrier. Now. His voice snapped across the channel, less a command, more a warning. You are in violation of standing orders and flight protocol. Terminate engagement and reroute immediately. Vega said nothing. Just watched the terrain roll and swell beneath her. Repeat, return to base. You're done out there. Acknowledge. She could almost hear him pacing the ops floor. Her eyes dropped to the HUD. Fuel, red line approaching. Remaining payload, 1. Time before enemy reach, 7 minutes. Distance to Hammer, under 5 clicks. Enemy units moving fast. She toggled zoom. That's when she saw it. A separate armor column, north crest, hugging the edge of a ravine. Unseen on her last flyover. Coming around. Flanking path. Hammer 2-1 wouldn't even see them until they were hit. Reinforcements. Bigger ones. She adjusted the optics again, and saw it, a narrow dirt bridge spanning a dry gorge. Only way across. One shot could drop it. But it would take everything. Fuel she didn't have. Altitude she couldn't keep. One weapon. One shot. A breath filled her mask. Her hand moved to the mic switch slowly. When she pressed it, her voice was calm. Clear. Negative, command. She paused, watching the bridge get closer, marking it mentally. Calculating turn radius in her head. Not while they're breathing. Then she banked right. Hard. Her HUD redlined. Terrain alerts screamed. And she was gone, dropping altitude, heading straight for the gorge. In ops, Salazar stood stone still, headset quiet now. She defied a direct order, the young officer murmured. She made a battlefield decision, Hightower said, not looking up. Salazar didn't answer immediately. He tracked her signal, low, fast, shifting course on her own terms. He rubbed his face. God damn it, Alex. In the sky, the clouds opened wide, and Vega shot down through them, one pilot, one missile, one final chance. The gorge came into view like a scar across the earth, narrow, jagged, and deadly. Vega's F-35 screamed just meters above the ridgeline, alarms blaring in her ears. Fuel low, ordnance, 1. Manual targeting required. She didn't care. The convoy was pushing toward the bridge, 6 armored vehicles barreling uphill. If they crossed, Hammer 2-1 was boxed in with nowhere to run. She spoke softly into the comm. Hammer 2-1, stand by. Final pass. Inside the warehouse, Tran looked up from her scanner. She's going for the bridge. Hale stiffened. She won't make another run after this. Brooks checked his watch, not for time, but to hold on to something. Let's hope she doesn't have to. Vega opened the bomb bay. Target reticle flashing. No lock. No time. Flak lit up the sky. Enemy fire tracked her now, multiple manpads from the brush below, streaking white smoke up her tail. One exploded far behind. Another exploded too close. Vega swerved hard. Come on, come on. Manual override engaged. She guided the crosshairs over the bridge, dropped altitude until treetops scraped her belly. Her hands never shook. Fox 5. The missile cut loose, flared, then rocketed forward like it was angry. A heartbeat later. Crack boom. The bridge disappeared into sky and fire. The lead tank flipped sideways into the canyon. The others slammed the brakes, too late. Metal screamed, treads snapped. A twisted storm of debris and flame filled the gorge. She did it, Tran whispered, eyes wide. Holy shit, Brooks added. Hale keyed his mic. Valkyrie, grim. Confirm hit and status. No answer. Inside the jet, Vega gritted her teeth. She'd pulled up hard from the run, but not fast enough. A hidden AAA battery from the far ridge fired late and lucky. A shockwave rocked her left side. Hydraulic pressure warning. Stabilizers unresponsive. Left aileron damaged. Smoke trailed from her rear. Flight control turned sluggish. The stick fought back like it was alive. HUD blinking red. Everything failing. She toggled backup avionics, no response. Engine whining louder than it should. She was going down. She grabbed her mic. Hammer 2-1, bridge destroyed. She glanced at the sky, no way to glide back to the coast. The jet was listing now, bucking like a wild horse. Time to move. Say again, Hale called. She reached for the ejection handle. Gloved fingers steady. I'm punching out. She yanked. The canopy exploded upward. Wind and smoke rushed in. Her seat launched like a slingshot from hell, sky flipping, sound gone. Branches tore past Vega's visor as she dropped through the smoke-thick sky. Wind howled in her ears. Her chute deployed late, too late, yanking her hard as she slammed into a slope cluttered with broken rock and rusted shrapnel. She tumbled twice before hitting solid ground. Hard. For a long moment, she didn't move. Then... Status, internal, alive, she muttered through gritted teeth. Her shoulder burned. Something in her thigh screamed. But she breathed, saw dust, felt gear on her back. That meant she was still in the fight, even if the jet wasn't. She rolled to her side and sat up, vision shaking. Nearby, the remains of the F-35 smoked quietly in the ravine, one wing gouging upward like a snapped fin. The nose was buried in earth. No flame left. Just steam and ashes. She checked her emergency beacon. It flickered red on the edge of her TAC display, then went black. Dead. No signal. No ping. No good. Miles away, Hammer 2-1 loaded into a waiting dust-off bird, rotors chopping the air to pieces. Smoke still climbed across the hills behind them. "Let's go," the crew chief yelled. Wounded in first. Hale paused at the open ramp. His eyes scanned the ridgeline, then the flat blue between clouds. Something gnawed at his gut. He stepped up beside Magpie Tran. "Angle the dish west. Scan for wreckage." "We don't have orders to do a sweep," Tran said, already adjusting the handheld scanner anyway. "I'm giving the order," Hale replied. Brooks grabbed his belt, stepping back onto the ramp. "If she's down out there, we ain't leaving her behind." 10 minutes later, the helo shuddered over the ravine under heavy crosswinds. Heat signature, far side. No IFF tag, but it's something. Tran squinted through the scope. "Could be her. Bring us in." Hale barked. The pilot dropped fast, skids smacking into uneven rock. Hale jumped out before the rotors stopped. "Eyes up." Smoke curled around one hill like a warning. Then they saw her. Vega limped over the ridge. Hair matted. Helmet gone. Visor cracked. Flight suit smeared with blood and dust. She moved like she hurt everywhere, but she moved. Brooks lowered his rifle. "Goddamn." Hale stepped forward, wide-eyed and smiling despite himself. "Hell of a flight, Valkyrie." Vega gave a slow, tired smile. "Tell your boys they owe me beer." Hale turned to the crew. "Get her aboard. Now." As they helped her into the bird, Vega looked back toward the wreckage one last time. Her jet was done. But the mission wasn't. Above them, the helo lifted toward the fading blue. Far off, radio chatter buzzed to life. A voice Vega didn't recognize, female, clipped, command tone. "All units, stand by for debrief. Valkyrie has returned." Vega closed her eyes and leaned her head back against the humming wall. The rain started just as the briefing room filled. Gray skies outside, quiet tension inside. Commander Richard Brick Salazar stood at attention, tablet in hand, jaw locked tight. Across from him sat Admiral Dana Rourke, posture calm, face unreadable. On the screen between them, a grainy freeze frame of a jet breaking below radar, smoke trailing behind it, Vega's final pass. Rourke tapped the screen. She disobeyed direct orders. "Yes, ma'am." She launched without clearance. "Yes, ma'am." She entered restricted airspace, fired ordnance without authorization, and ejected over hostile terrain. Salazar nodded once. "Correct." Rourke leaned back, watching him. He braced. "I've prepared the court-martial recommendation per protocol." Rourke swiped past still images, armor burning, the bridge collapse, the wrecked convoy in the gorge. Then a photo, Vega, limping out of the smoke. "Our press line crashed this morning," she said. Salazar frowned. "Excuse me?" It started trending while she was still airborne. Real-time drone footage got intercepted, edited, and pushed worldwide. People are calling her the ghost jet. A wry smile touched her lips. Reports say 12 Marines are alive because of one rogue pilot. She set the tablet down. "Your recommendations noted. But denied." Salazar blinked slowly. "Ma'am?" Valkyrie saved the lives of her countrymen with no backup, no support, and no way home. She flew like a ghost, her tone sharpened. And broke every armored unit in contact range for 2 clicks. Salazar folded his arms. "She also broke my trust. And your policy." Rourke didn't flinch. "She'll be grounded. For now." He nodded, slowly. "For how long?" Rourke stood. "Until her next briefing." Hours later, Vega stood on the carrier's catwalk as a refit crew swarmed the deck below. Her arm was still in a sling, bruises peeking from her collar, but her flight suit was zipped to the top, clean, pressed, earned. In her other hand, she held her helmet. Across the sky, the clouds were breaking. Commander Salazar approached from behind. He stopped beside her, silent a moment. "You made me look like a fool, Captain." Vega didn't look at him. "Did what needed doing." Salazar nodded. "You did." He straightened. "By order of Admiral Rourke, temporary flight suspension is lifted. Effective next rotation." Vega looked over, eyebrow raised. "That a fancy way of saying I'm flying again?" He gave a sharp nod. Then, reluctantly, offered a crisp salute. She returned it, slow and steady. "I'll try not to embarrass you next time," she said, smirking. Salazar turned to go. "Let's hope there isn't one." Vega walked along the flight deck. Steam hissed around her boots. Crew moved aside. Ahead, a jet shimmered in the afternoon sun, fresh paint catching the light. On the nose, Valkyrie in bold, dark lettering. She stopped. Put her helmet under one arm. And grinned. Drop your thoughts about Valkyrie Rising in the comments. Subscribe for more cinematic stories and hero-driven action. And remember, some angels fly solo.